Ülke gündemine bomba gibi düşen seri katil Atalay Filiz bugün hakim karşısına çıktı.
Şimdi bir son dakika notunu paylaşacağız. Ekranda da görüyorsunuz. 3 kişinin katil zanlısı.
Şu anda evden çıkarılıyor ve cezaevine.
Seri cinayet zanlısı Atalay Filiz,
Atalay Filiz, a successful academic life, a good family, and close friendships. Once known for his intelligence, demeanor, and bright future, how did this young man become the perpetrator of a series of murders that dominated the nation's headlines for days?
Herkese görevinde başarılar diliyorum.
Atalay Filiz was born on June 2, 1986, in the Bandırma district of Balıkesir. His father, İlhan Filiz, had served for many years in the Turkish Air Force, and after retiring as a staff colonel, went on to work as a pilot for Turkish Airlines. Atalay came from a respectable, well-educated family. After excelling in the National High School Entrance Exam, he earned a place at Galatasaray High School, one of Turkey's most prestigious institutions, and moved to Istanbul. He graduated third in his class, achieving remarkable academic success, though the same could not be said about his social life. People often described Atalay as odd, a quiet figure with a deep love for books and a particular fascination with Russian classics. Upon finishing high school, he took the university entrance exam in Turkey, but deliberately made mistakes, preventing him from being admitted. His goal was never to study in Turkey, but to live abroad. In 2006, he achieved that ambition, moving to Paris to study biology. Yet this stage of his education was a far cry from his earlier years. He no longer showed the same interest in school or his studies, and it soon became clear that he frequently skipped classes altogether. In 2008, through a student exchange program in Paris, Atalay met Olga Seragina and her friend Elena. At the time, Atalay was living with Göktuğ, the son of one of his father's fellow officers. The four, Olga, Elena, Göktuğ, and Atalay, soon became a close-knit group, often spending time together. Atalay and Olga's relationship continued for a while and gradually became serious. Atalay even introduced her to his family and took steps toward marriage. During this period, Atalay went to fulfill his military service, yet he and Olga remained in contact. Eventually, Atalay proposed to Olga, but to his surprise, she said no. While Atalay was still serving in the military, Olga expressed her desire to end the relationship. Desperate, Atalay obtained leave and rushed back to Paris in order to see her. On December 16th, Olga left the house where she was working as a nanny, telling her employers she was going to meet a friend. She was never seen again. Following Olga's disappearance, her friends and family held Atalay responsible. Shortly before she vanished, Olga had confided in a close friend that she wanted to leave Atalay, that he had become an obsession and that she was afraid of him. After their time together in Paris, Göktuğ and Elena returned to Turkey and continued living in Ankara. Once back, they cut ties with Atalay, as they too held him responsible for Olga's disappearance. They deliberately put distance between themselves and Atalay, no longer meeting as frequently as before. According to another claim, Atalay had also become obsessed with Elena and wanted to marry her. While Göktuğ and Elena were settling into life in Ankara, one day Göktuğ received a call from a courier company. They said there was a package addressed to him that had been delivered to Hacettepe University, but they couldn't reach him. Göktuğ provided his home address over the phone to ensure the package could be delivered, yet nothing arrived. After 2 or 3 days without receiving the package, Göktuğ grew suspicious and reported the situation to his father, a military officer. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the package had actually been linked to a payphone. Atalay now knew the location of Göktuğ's home. Atalay continued to monitor Göktuğ and Elena from a distance and secretly installed a mobile phone device in Göktuğ's car. The device was meticulously designed. It included a battery system to keep the phone running for long periods without charging, allowing Atalay to track them continuously. He camouflaged the device to make it look like part of the car, and even erased the numbers on the face of SIM cards and wiped fingerprints to avoid detection in case anything went wrong. Göktuğ and Elena had planned a holiday trip to Antalya, which Atalay became aware of. However, his plan failed when he noticed they weren't using their car. They had left it at the Ankara bus terminal and decided to travel by bus. Atalay waited for them to return to Ankara. On September 16, 2013, he began lurking near their apartment. When the couple returned home one night, Atalay silently approached them and shot them both with a shotgun, killing them. He then rented a car with Kütahya plates to travel to Kütahya, knowing he wouldn't be noticed there, before eventually returning to Istanbul. Meanwhile, police investigating the murders learned from the victims' relatives that Atalay had previously harassed Göktuğ and Elena. On October 31, 2013, a warrant was issued for Atalay's arrest. Due to fears he might flee abroad, a red notice was issued. It was later reported that Atalay had fled to Portugal, but this was false. Someone else had traveled to Portugal using his passport to mislead authorities. Atalay remained in Turkey. Atalay then sought a rental property in Tuzla, Istanbul, but struggled to find one due to being single. A young woman claiming to be his fiancée called the landlord and helped him rent the apartment. During investigations, police sought to understand Atalay's mindset by speaking to friends and acquaintances. Experts noted that his Galatasaray High School yearbook contained numerous strange and abnormal comments about him. Atalay's yearbook photos were disturbing. In one, he posed in front of a gravestone-like rock, and in another next to the killer Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs. His classmates described him with words like abnormal, weird, crazy, and the strangest friend, highlighting violent and disturbing tendencies even in his youth. In Istanbul, Atalay assumed the identity of Furkan, presenting himself as homeless, jobless, and lonely, and began working at a tea garden. He earned the trust of the owner, Fatma Kayakçı, a history teacher, who even gave him extra money. Despite this, Fatma noticed suspicious behavior. Atalay didn't react when called by the name Furkan, indicating he had not fully integrated into his disguise. Eventually, he became neighbors with the Kayakçı family. When the tea garden closed, he began working at a kebab restaurant, adopting a new identity as a poor villager with no money. Atalay was careful, methodical, and suspicious of Fatma, believing she might discover his identity. He noticed items in his room had been moved and meticulously measured distances to track changes. On May 27th, he enacted a brutal plan. Following Fatma as she left to pick up her child from school, he approached her silently and killed her with a knife. He placed her body in a suitcase and abandoned it 500 meters away. For a period, he carried the suitcase with him, including on public transport. Her body was found the next day, and autopsy revealed fatal injuries from a sharp instrument. Fingerprint analysis later confirmed that Atalay, previously suspected of killing 2 people in Ankara, had committed this murder. After the murders, Atalay continued moving across Turkey from Istanbul to Adapazarı and then Izmir. News outlets broadcast his photos, increasing public recognition. He was first spotted on security cameras in an internet cafe in Izmir, where he checked roommate ads online, planning to live with someone without revealing his identity. Using the alias Ömer, he gave false personal details and claimed he was from Trabzon. He selected a national park in Gumuldur as a temporary hiding place, surviving on frogs, plants, and hazelnuts. After a week, he moved to a rented home in Menderes, Izmir, but had to use public transport, exposing himself. A citizen noticed him, contacted police, and Atalay was ultimately intercepted by authorities. He attempted to use a fake ID but admitted, "I am Atalay Filiz." He stated he had no involvement in Olga Seragina's disappearance and would have returned to Istanbul if not pursued. Atalay revealed he had planned to flee to Iraq and Syria, but abandoned the plan. Police found him living in a shack near Shashal village, surviving off wildlife and food. At arrest, he possessed 2 hunting knives, fake IDs, 16 bank cards, adult content lists, and cash. He had also rented a warehouse in Hadımköy, Istanbul, containing boxes of Dexter DVDs and crime novels. During questioning at the Anadolu courthouse, Atalay detailed his life. Born in 1986 in Balıkesir, schooling moved due to his father's military service, admission to Galatasaray High School, and obsession with newspapers he believed communicated messages to him, prompting him to steal items. He explained that he intentionally failed the university exam to study abroad in Paris, continuing his newspaper reading habits. He tracked people as instructed by the newspapers but did not harm anyone until later. He recounted meeting Olga in 2008, beginning a relationship in 2010, and interacting with Elena and Göktuğ. He admitted to installing the phone tracking system in their car, planning to film them during a holiday, but ultimately killed them with a shotgun upon their return. After returning to Istanbul, he assumed a new identity, worked at a tea garden and later a kebab shop, before killing Fatma Kayakçı. Following this, he moved across Turkey, hiding until finally being apprehended in Izmir. Atalay's trial began at the Anadolu Heavy Penal Court. The public prosecutor sought aggravated life sentences for premeditated murder, concealing a crime, and destroying evidence. The victim's husband and son attended the trial. In his final defense, Atalay claimed the Ankara murders were not crimes of passion, but targeted killings of someone he alleged was involved with a terrorist organization. He stated, "I carried out the people's will," and insisted he fled from intelligence and terrorist groups, not the police. The court sentenced him to aggravated life imprisonment without reduction for his crimes, including the murder of Fatma Kayakçı.